For some people, the safest presence in their life is not another human being. It is their dog, not their partner, not their family, not their closest friend, their dog. And if that sounds dramatic, here's the uncomfortable part. For a lot of people, it does not feel dramatic at all. It feels true. Because when life gets heavy, when shame hits, when anxiety spikes, when the world becomes too loud, there is sometimes one presence that makes the body exhale before the mind can explain why. A dog walks over, leans against your leg, drops their head on your knee, lies beside you without asking questions, without needing a performance, without demanding that you turn your pain into words. And suddenly your breathing changes, your shoulders drop, the noise in your head gets quieter. Most people explain that in a soft, simple way. Dogs are cute, dogs are loyal, dogs are comforting, but that explanation is too small for what is really happening. Because for many people, dogs do not just feel comforting, they feel safe, nervous system safe, the kind of safe your body recognizes before your thoughts do. And once you look at it that way, this stops being a sweet pet story and turns into a much more revealing story about human connection. Because if a dog feels safer than a person, the real question is not only what is special about dogs, the real question is what people have taught the body to expect. Let us start with the first reason, because it may be the biggest one. Dogs do not evaluate you. That sounds obvious, but it matters more than almost anything. Human support is rarely just support. Even kind people can make you feel watched, measured, misunderstood, or exposed. A person can sit beside you and still make your body tense. Not because they are cruel, but because humans carry social risk. They can judge you, interrupt you, misread your pain, expect explanations, expect recovery on a timeline your body cannot meet. A dog usually does not do any of that. They do not care if you cried. They do not care if you failed. They do not care if you embarrassed yourself 6 hours ago and now you are still replaying it in your head. They can stay close to you without turning your pain into a performance. And research hints that this difference is not just emotional. In classic stress studies, people often showed lower stress responses with a pet nearby than with a spouse or close friend during difficult tasks. Think about what that means. The person who loves you can still make your body more alert than the dog sitting quietly in the room. Not because love is fake, but because human closeness often brings two things at once: support and threat. Even when someone means well, your nervous system may still ask hard questions. Will they judge me? Will they pity me? Will I have to manage their reaction too? Will this become one more moment where I feel seen, but not actually safe? A dog removes most of that. No criticism, no social test, no hidden emotional invoice waiting to be paid later. Psychologists sometimes describe this as non-valuative support. For an overloaded nervous system, that can feel like oxygen. But that is only the first layer. Because sometimes a dog is not just calming. Sometimes a dog becomes a safe haven. In attachment theory, when distress hits, the mind searches for something safe to move toward. Usually that is a parent, a partner, or a deeply trusted person. Some presence that tells your system you can come down now. But not everyone learns that other people are safe. Some people learn the opposite. They learn that closeness can become criticism. Vulnerability can become humiliation. Asking for comfort can end in rejection. Love can disappear without warning. And once a nervous system learns that lesson, it does not simply forget it because logic says it should. This is why dogs can become so psychologically powerful. They are warm, available, predictable, and easy to approach after stress. Research on human-animal attachment suggests that dogs can serve attachment-like functions for humans, especially the safe haven role, not replacing every human need, not becoming a full substitute for human relationships, but providing one of the most important pieces of attachment: comfort when distressed. That means the intense bond some people feel with their dog is not childish, weak, or irrational. It may be attachment logic. The mind goes where safety has been reliable. And for some people, reliability has come more consistently from a dog than from another human being. Which brings us to another reason dogs can feel safer. They are easier to read. This sounds small, but it is not. A huge part of safety is predictability. Humans are exhausting because they are often emotionally opaque. They can smile while they resent you, say they are fine when they are angry, offer comfort while quietly judging you, be warm one day and distant the next. Your brain has to keep scanning for what is really happening. What did that tone mean? Why did they pause like that? Did I say too much? Did something change? For anxious people, trauma survivors, overthinkers, autistic people, and anyone raised around emotional inconsistency, that scanning can become automatic. You stop relaxing into relationships. You start decoding them. Dogs are different. Their signals are usually cleaner. Their posture changes. Their energy changes. Their distance changes. Their face changes. You may not interpret every cue perfectly, but you rarely feel like the dog is hiding a second agenda. And that may be one of the deepest reasons they feel safe. Not just because they are loving, because they are legible. Your nervous system relaxes faster around what it can read. And human beings, for all their intelligence, are often much harder to read than a dog lying beside you on the floor. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Sometimes your dog calms your body before your mind has built a story for why. Nothing in your life is fixed. The problem is still there. The grief is still there. The anxiety is still there. And yet, after a few quiet minutes with your dog, something inside you starts settling. That is not imaginary. Researchers studying human-dog interaction have measured shifts in cortisol, oxytocin, heart rate, and heart rate variability. Recent work even found correlated heart rate variability patterns in dog-owner pairs, suggesting their nervous systems were syncing during calm interaction. That is an extraordinary thing, because your body is always reading other bodies. Warmth, pressure, stillness, breathing, rhythm, touch, presence, and dogs often send those safety signals in a way that feels clear, steady, and low threat. That is why petting a dog can soothe you faster than hearing a person say, "Calm down." One feels like instruction, the other feels like regulation, and that difference matters, because the body does not calm down because it was argued into peace. The body calms down because it detected safety. Now we get to the darkest part. For many people, the deepest wounds did not come from animals. They came from humans. Betrayal, bullying, neglect, volatility, humiliation, abuse. The kind of pain that teaches the body that connection can turn dangerous without warning. So even when a person wants closeness, their nervous system may not agree. It may stay alert, guarded, prepared, not because they are broken, because they adapted. And adaptation can sound a lot like this. I trust dogs more than people. This is one reason PTSD service dog research is so powerful. People living with trauma often describe their dogs as helping with anxiety, hypervigilance, public distress, and the constant sense that something could go wrong at any second. But one of the most revealing details is that the dog's natural presence and companionship are often rated as deeply important, sometimes as important as trained tasks. Think about what that means. Not just commands, not just function, presence. A living cue that says you are not alone. You do not have to scan every second. You can come down a little. That is not ordinary comfort. That is biological relief. And then there is another finding that sounds almost impossible until you sit with it. In some stress studies, even the presence of a dog reduced physiological stress better than the presence of a human friend. A friend, not a stranger. A friend. Why would that happen? Because even a supportive human can trigger self-consciousness. A dog usually does not, which means the dog can calm the body without activating the same social alarms that people often do. That is a massive clue. It suggests dogs do not just comfort us emotionally. They may bypass some of the exact mechanisms that make human closeness feel risky in the first place. And once you understand that, a lot of human behavior starts making more sense. Why people go to their dog after a fight. Why they cry into fur before they call a friend. Why some people feel lonelier with humans than they do with animals. There is even research suggesting that pets can buffer the pain of social rejection, meaning your dog is not only there while you hurt, they may help repair something after the hurt. Connection, stability, a sense of belonging, a feeling that you are still emotionally held by something warm and alive. So when someone says, "I trust dogs more than people," that line may sound exaggerated, but sometimes it is not exaggeration. Sometimes it is memory. Sometimes it is the nervous system keeping score. Who feels predictable? Who feels safe when I am weak? Who asks for nothing when I have nothing left to give? Who stays gentle when I am at my worst? And for a lot of people, the answer is the same: the dog. Not because dogs are perfect, not because human relationships do not matter, not because people should give up on people, but because dogs often offer something rare: closeness without judgment, presence without pressure, comfort without interrogation, signals without hidden motives, calm without social risk. And maybe the saddest part of this whole story is not that dogs feel so safe. Maybe it is that so many people have gone so long without another human making them feel that way too. So the next time your dog leans against you and your whole body softens before you have even found words for what you feel, remember what may actually be happening. Your nervous system is recognizing something precious, a presence that feels clear, steady, readable, safe. If this changed how you see your bond with your dog, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. I want to know one thing. And if this video helped you understand something about your own mind or your relationship with your dog, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the Neural Fire.